Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. This week I'm sharing with you some fun paper pumpkin alternative ideas that you can create with the June 2024 paper pumpkin kit called Life is Sweet. This fun kit creates 9 cards, 3 in these 3 different designs. And if you're interested in watching me unbox this kit or create these original cards, or see any of my other alternative projects, you can click on the playlist and I'll link it up here in the top right corner. Today I'm sharing with you this beautiful card created with the contents from the kit. One thing that I love about this card is the color combination. I love the green and the orange together. I think they really pop. I also think that it's a good use of some of the materials so that we can spread those out and get this foliage on lots of different cards. So I'm excited to share with you some of the fun techniques. Let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to need to trim down some of the things from the kit to make this card. Let's start with the envelopes. I always just like to trim a little bit off of each edge so that I can open it up and use the front and the back of the envelopes separately. So that's what I'm going to do right here. So you just trim off the folded edge. So I now have the back and the front. Go ahead and put the back off to the side, and we're going to take the front piece and cut it down to fit our card base. So that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So save the flap and the back piece for future cards. Then let's go ahead and move to the peach pie envelope. Do the same thing. Trim off the edges. From this one, we can use the back piece, and we are going to cut a piece that is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. So let's go ahead and start at the 2 1/2, and we'll make sure that straight edge is right against that measurement. And then here we're going to trim off both sides to get 4 1/4. So just make sure. What we're looking for is just to be able to trim off that double layer from where it's folded and glued together. So just kind of eyeball where those are and then trim to 4 1/4, and you should get a nice single layered piece. We also want to cut down our blue card base. Start by trimming it at 4 1/4, so right along that scored edge. Save one piece for a future card, and we're going to cut the other piece to 2 inches. And then of course save that as well. So we have our 2-inch piece. And then from the greetings, so these are your glimmer greetings, I've removed all the pieces, and I actually put them into one of the baggies that came. I think this was the one with the tear and tape in it. That way I wouldn't lose that little dot. All those pieces are together. But along the long edges, there's about 1/4 inch of glimmer paper that you can trim off. And so I trimmed off both sides. So you can see here that you get pretty close to the greeting, but there's plenty there. So that's what I have here is a 1/4 inch strip. And I'm going to cut that down to 4 1/4 as well. Actually, I'm going to go just a little bit bigger so I can trim it down to fit just perfectly on my card. The first thing we want to do is splatter any green marker. I am using shaded spruce, and I'm going to splatter that in the top right and bottom left corners. That's just going to give that background just a little bit of texture so that it doesn't feel blank compared to the rest of the card. So after we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and add it to our card base. You could use a card base of Shy Shamrock if you want the color to be the same, or you can use thick basic white cardstock, which is what I'm using, just like that. Next, we're going to take the orange, the blue, and our glimmer, and we're going to go ahead and stack these three things on top of, or the two things on top of the bigger piece. So there's going to be just a small border at the top. Okay, so maybe about 1/8 of an inch. So to add the glimmer strip, I'm going to take a piece of tear and tape and trim it right down the middle to make two thin pieces. And then cut those off. And then I can put those along the edges to hold it in place. And that's going to get added right to the base of the blue piece. Can push that down a little bit. And then you can see there's a little bit to cut off because I cut it a little bit on the big side and then make sure the other side is fine. All right, so once you have that together, we're going to do a little stamping up here in the top left corner. Again, I'm going to stamp with the Shy Shamrock, and you can use the Stampin' Spot that comes with the kit instead of the large ink pad. The spot is perfect, but this is just easier for me. So go ahead and make sure it's nice and straight. I'm using the Life is So Much Sweeter with Friends Like You greeting that came in the paper pumpkin kit. I've added adhesive to it, and now I'm going to go ahead and add it to my card, and I'm placing it about 1.25 inches from the top, but you really can just eyeball it and place it wherever you want. So from the kit, you're going to need one of each size of peach. So you have the darker with the right leaf, the lighter with the left leaf. Then there's like a medium size and the leaf is going to the left. And then there's two small ones, a lighter with the leaf to the right, and then a darker with a double leaf. You're also going to need that fern piece. Now, if you didn't follow along with my first alternative, then yours is going to look a little bit bigger because we used some of these leaves here in this bottom corner on that first. So what we're going to do is we've got this triangle shape here. So do you see how this one is thinner and this one's thicker? This is going to go here at the bottom. There is a leaf that we cut off, and that's nice and straight, and that's going to go up against the corner. So keep that in mind when you're adding it. And then there's kind of a section that happens here. So right here where we cut the other one, that's gonna kind of be our baseline to we're gonna kind of cut it off right there. So you kind of want everything to be on the card so that those leaves, those kind of base leaves, are all together. Let's move it over just a little bit, like that. Okay, so we've got 3 leaves here on the right, and that base is where we're going to cut it off. So I'm going to put some glue dots behind these leaves, and then we can add it to our card. And then once it's on, you can flip it over and you're going to trim off some of these excess pieces. This one, I don't want to cut this leaf here because then I'm wasting just that leaf. So I'm actually going to cut it up a little higher, and I'm going to just trim it off to give it that leaf shape. So do you see that? How I just trimmed it a little high, but then down here I can go ahead and trim. So that's the one that I just did. So these ones here I can kind of just trim off. I think I'm going to trim this one a little bit up higher. And then of course this one on this side can cut them off. So it's nice and straight along that edge as well. Okay, if you bring this down a little bit more, you'll have more of the foliage covering the peach and the glimmer. Oh, it's got little glue dot papers. So if you wanted to bring that down to maybe 1.5 inches, that's totally up to you, okay? Because I did 1 1/4 up here. Okay, so now we have this piece, and we're going to trim it here on this side. So we're gonna kind of take there's this piece here that kind of feels empty. It's like, doesn't have its top, because that's the top right there. Okay, do you see how that's the top? So we're gonna trim off this right edge, and then we'll leave this left edge for another card. So just kind of start removing pieces so that they make sense. So don't just cut a leaf right in the middle. Cut along the edge so that you have nice looking leaves. Sorry, let's get rid of that. And then this one here. Okay, so this is what we've got. We have 2 full leaves that are pointing down, and then this one that's kind of a half. So let's go ahead and separate the 2 from the 1. So now we have this one, and then we have this one. And we're going to use both of these up here in the top right corner. Let's begin by adding this weird shaped one. I'm going to kind of cut off that edge so it doesn't feel like we're missing something. So nice smooth edge there. So add a glue dot or 2. And this is just going to go right in the corner. Okay, we're going to put a peach at the end here so it's not going to look weird. And then we'll take this one, add some more glue dots, and you can either tuck it on top, you can place it on top, or you can tuck it underneath. So whatever you want. I'm going to just tuck it underneath, and it's going to go over some of that, just like that. Okay, so now we kind of have the background, and we can add our peaches. So the small ones all going to have glue dots, and the big ones have dimensionals. So you're going to place this one so that the leaf is in kind of the top right area. And there's just kind of a slight angle to the peach to make it feel a little more natural. And then this one, we're going to place the text in this little corner created by the leaf. Okay. So just like that. Isn't that so cute? And then let's pop some glue dots on the back. If you want to use dimensionals for these small ones, you can. That's totally up to you. All right, so this large one is going to go right here in the corner. Then we have the double leaf. That's the one that's going to go up at the top, and you're going to kind of cover up that open space. I'm going to have it angled just a little differently. And then the last one gets tucked in behind these leaves here, just like that. And the last thing we're going to do is add our thanks. This is a die cut that I cut out from the Thanks and Beyond dies. So here's the die cut. I love this set of dies, and they coordinate really nicely with this paper pumpkin kit. They're actually created to coordinate perfectly. So I cut that out of shaded spruce cardstock. You could use any color cardstock. I just wanted something that was nice and bold and would stand out. I'm going to add some dimensionals under the T, H, A, and K, and then just a glue dot or 2 under K and S. And to do that, I like to use the edges of my dimensional sheets and cut them into thin strips, and then they're perfect to place inside these letters. Okay, so once that's done, you can go ahead and add that carefully to your card. It's very delicate, so just be careful as you're placing it that you don't accidentally rip it. And then you want to make sure it's nice and straight and just underneath the greeting you stamped and on the peaches, just like that. So cute. If you want to add any of the linen thread or the pearls that were in the kit, you can do that as well. I think this little strip of glimmer paper is the nice, perfect touch to add a little bit of shimmer and shine to the card. So I liked it just as it is. And the card is all done. If you're interested in getting written instructions or close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to purchase your own paper pumpkin subscription, you can do so using the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.